Well, hi everyone, it's Marcus. It's bright and early in the morning in Adelaide, and I'm zooming from the jungle room all over the world right now to Portland, Oregon, in the US. And I'm speaking, of course, to less than Jake. It is JR, and he plays saxophone. JR, how are you today?
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Marcus. Thank you for having me on your show. This is great.
Absolute pleasure. You've got your coffee, like me.
Yes,
Perfect way to start the day.
yes. I prefer when we're in Australia, we go with flat whites pretty much. So, it looks like you don't have a flat white. It looks like you
So
go.
I've got the long black, yes.
Yeah,
And
we call that cowboy coffee in the US.
now, you are, of course, on the way over to Australia. You're going to be here in October and November with kind of a couple of tours. There's obviously one which is doing well, it's a massive festival run for WA, Victoria, South Australia, and Queensland, which is the Hotter Than Hell tour, which is going to be with Regurgitator, Less Than Jake, of course, Unwritten Law, Jebediah, Little Birdie, the Bennies, Adelita, and the Kick-Ons. Whew, what a lineup. But then,
Yeah.
of course, you've got your Hello Rockview tour as well. Unfortunately, that's not coming to Adelaide, but going to all the other states, pretty much. Are you looking forward to the two tours?
I mean, they're all kind of the same tour to me. You know what I mean? Just because we're in Australia, and even though they are branded as separate uh, entities, I believe we're playing Hello Rockview on the festival shows as well. So that was, we'll be still performing pretty much the same set. So the crowds get the same thing, but we were asked to be part of the Hotter Than Hell Festival in certain markets versus playing in a club for multiple reasons, but mostly just because we like festival shows. So it was the best way to kind of get the best of both worlds: club shows, festival shows, and Australia. So it's like 3 for 1. It's wonderful.
Now, with the Hotter Than Hell tour, obviously, like I said, Regurgitator and etc. Have you played with any of these bands before?
Unwritten Law several times over the years. The Bennies, known them for a long time.
Yep.
And I'd have to really look back at some of the others, but a lot of bands now are kind of newer in the last, say, 6 or 7 years since we've been to Australia, so we're and with the pandemic kind of shutting things down, there are a whole new crop of new awesome bands and that I don't really know about. And that's just my own I don't want to call it ignorance because I work too goddamn hard to call it ignorance. It's just I wish I had more hours in the day, you know what I mean, to be able to discover new songs. But this is what this festival is kind of good for me, because then I'll just be able to go and check out new music, new bands, and then maybe the next time we go to Australia, we have new, acts to tour with. Be cool.
Hey, let's go back to the beginning and then we'll talk about the tour. But
Great.
2003, your first album came out. You guys are ska rockers, absolutely killers in the game. The first album was She's Gonna Break Soon. Please forgive me if I think I'm correct. And then all the way up to the 2022 album, which is Silver Linings. But then there was a 2024, obviously, which was an EP called Sunnyside. And I'm going to tell you, Sunnyside, one of my favorite tracks on there is A Brand New Day. Smashing.
I do like that.
But in between, obviously, this EP that came out this year and the 2003 album, there's been a plethora of albums that have just been, put out by you guys. You guys are creative in the industry.
Yeah.
What keeps you inspired?
We don't know how to do anything else, I guess. A couple of years back, we played with the American rock act Cheap Trick. Some people don't know who Cheap Trick is, but Rick Nielsen and his son Dax. His son is the drummer, and he's a good friend of mine. And Rick said to me, most poignant quote ever. He's like, "Yeah, we would probably stop and do something else, but we don't know how to do anything else." And I think that's kind of how we are as a band. This is what we know, so we just keep doing what we know. We've been a band since 1992, and we're entering our now 33rd year as a band. So, and we did have releases prior to 2003. We just had a lot of, that was the first one on Warner's 2003. Prior to that, we've been signed to Universal. We had 2 records on Universal. That's Hello Rockview was on that. Losing Streak was on that as well. First record was Pezcore, and that came out in 1995.
Yeah,
You know,
wow.
but we've been a band, been touring since 92. And like I said, 33 years, just we don't really know what else to do. So, you know, and we've seen a lot of our friends kind of come and go, like our friend, we just played our friend that's Friends of No Effects's last show ever on Sunday. And, you know, it's been quite a journey. And so what keeps us inspired is just probably we've never, you know, we've had commercial success, I suppose, but we've never had like a skyrocket hit or whatever. So I guess when you don't achieve your ultimate goal, it keeps you driven, you know. So we're pretty goal oriented, and yeah, we just actually enjoy writing music still too, which is, you know, a blessing.
That actually leads me right into my next question. Obviously, there's so many parts to this industry, whether it be the writing, whether it be the recording, whether it be the touring, whether it be, you know, the marketing and going out there and pushing these albums, etc., doing the interviews. For you, what's one of the most rewarding parts of the job?
The performance, you know, I mean, like it's really that hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour and a half, whatever the time is that we have on stage, that is the most important time of my day. You know, it's the most free time that I have in the day because I'm not inundated with a phone call or a text message or an email or, you know, somebody asking a question or whatever. You know, I'm just concentrating on performing and playing. And like, that's certainly the best part of any day, whether I'm on tour or not, you know. So yeah, that's my answer. Stick
And
by
do you
it.
enjoy getting out and meeting the people as well?
Some days, you know, I'm a human being like anybody else, you know, and so there's some days that I just don't, you know, want to. It's like it's it's fucked up for me to say that it's a job. You know what I mean? Because it's certainly most people, you know, when they think of a job, it's like 9 to 5, take your weekends, you know, house 2.5 kids in a car. But
Yeah.
for what we do, this is, I have to put a little bit of a certain level of professionalism on what I do,
Yep.
because if I don't, then you just become a casualty, you know what I mean? So, um, yes, I do enjoy talking to people, but it also has to just kind of be under my terms. And I know that that's a fucked up way to kind of be, but then I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good headspace. So I'm able to like give a good moment to that person. You know what I mean? Because I've met people, heroes of mine over the years, and they weren't in a good headspace. And I was tainted about what I thought about that person because I just met them at the wrong time. You know what I mean? Like timing is everything in life. So I try to keep that perspective in mind when I am thinking, oh, do I want to go talk to some fans? Because if I'm not in a good headspace, then I'm not going to ruin their moment. You know what I mean? Because that's all it would do is ruin their moment, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And then that spreads really fast, right?
Well, I mean, it's not like I don't, you know, social media is social media. It's gonna catch something, you do something wrong or right, it catches fire. And it's usually if you do something wrong. And like, I don't personally give too much of a shit about that kind of stuff. But what I do give a shit about is real people and the impact that I have on them in a real moment, not on something because I posted a meme of, you know, laughing emojis somewhere and somebody thinks that I'm insensitive to a moment or something. Like it's just I live in reality, not on the internet. That's
Yeah.
all.
Sure. Someone's going to hang you for something.
I
Um,
love it. Yeah, that's I just enough rope to hang myself, right?
exactly. Hey, with the band, what's one of your personal favorite achievements that you guys have, you know, kicked out the park?
Still being banned after 33 years. I mean, like the people that we used to run with in the 90s, a lot of them don't exist anymore. You know what I mean? And like running into some friends this weekend, I'm, you know, realizing that it's becoming more and more of us that there anymore. You know what I mean? Aren't touring. And you know, we're kind of like a mythological creature to a lot of people, you know, and it's been around so fucking long. So I guess just that's my answer. Just
Yeah.
still being here, you know.
Hey, when you guys all got together, who were some of the bands that were really inspiring you and, you know, really drove you down the path that you wanted to head down?
Yeah, there was a band from the UK called Snuff. They were a huge influence on who we are. No Effects, Descendants, Iron Maiden, you
Yeah.
know, Kiss in a lot of ways too, just with like their, you know, their merchandising and the way that they branded themselves, you know, and then like on a, you know, musical level, there was a band from uh Northern California called Skank and Pickle. They were pretty influential in who we were as a band. And um, you know, it's those are the bands that still inspire us to this day.
Yeah, cool. So Hotter Than Hell tour is coming to Adelaide, playing at the Cooper's Brewery. I'm just reading off my notes here. Cooper's Ale House, actually. Saturday, the 26th of October, which is not far away. You probably haven't been there before, but a great, great venue. Only a couple of minutes out the city over that way. Can you tell us what we can expect from the tour, the Hotter Than Hell tour?
I don't know. Everybody fucking shows up. Like I don't know. Like that's that's a question it's kind of hard to answer because like we have a set list of songs and we perform that set list of songs in sequential order from the start to the end. And then, but I don't know what happens in between songs. And I don't, you know, and it's also too like kind of, um, it's like the old magician's trick. You don't want to reveal your show because then people will be like, oh, well, I've already seen it. Like, you know, and then the way that the internet is too, you know, everybody's so fickle and they're like, oh, well, I can just watch it on YouTube. There's no comparable YouTube video to actually being in the presence of a live show, you know?
Yep.
So if what you're gonna miss by not showing up is that moment and the excitement that's around it, because this is it. This is the last time we're doing Hello Rockview live.
Okay. Yeah.
Brought it to Australia. We don't live on our laurels, so to speak. We're a very forward-thinking group. But when we were asked, you know, would you be willing to play Hello Rockview in Australia? We extended the tour to this year to do it. We were kind of not interested in doing it, but you know, we haven't been to Australia in a long time, and we were like, okay, I think our fans deserve it. So we do it for our fans, but so and I don't know if we come back to Australia after this tour. You know, you don't know how life works, you know. So I know that we're going to be here now, and I have been practicing in my own life to try to be more present and not worry so much about what tomorrow holds or what happened yesterday. And so, like, if you're trying to just live your life in the present, there's your answer. You should go to the show. You know?
So, JR, like you said earlier, 6 to 7 years since you've been in Australia. What's one of the things that you're really looking forward to getting to do on maybe a day off?
Flat whites, having some curry because Australia seems to have some of the best curry I've ever had. Catching up with some friends, you know, like we have our really good friends in the band. Frenzel Rom live down there, and so I'm hoping to catch up with Jay and Lindsay and Gordy at some point. I haven't seen them in too long, you know, like, and it's crazy because all of our friends now, everybody has kids and they're married, and so the kids come out to the shows, and so I want to hang out. I want to get to know my friends' kids, you know, so it's those sort of things. Is, you know, years ago, I guess maybe I'd be like, oh, we're gonna go to the Cherry Bar in Melbourne and black out for a week, you know, but now I'm just more like, hey, where are we gonna go get dinners, and who's got the best flat white around here, and can I catch up with some friends, you know? That'll make it a excellent trip to Australia.
Well, I will give you a list of all the amazing cafes in Adelaide where you can definitely get that amazing flat white.
Thank you. That's the information that I need. Yeah.
And you'll get it.
Thank
Leslie Jake are coming to Australia, October and November, everybody. There's an Australian tour, but in that tour, there's kind of two tours, sub-tours, if you like. One is called Than Hell Tour. The other one is called the Hello Rockview Tour, like we've just been discussing. Get onto the band's website, check out all the dates, get your tickets, everyone, because it's going to be one hell of a tour. And JR, I will see you at the Cooper's Ale House on the 26th of October.
Cheers. We'll have a couple of Coopers that I'm also looking forward to having. So.
And a flat white, of course.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can put them together in one, but like it'll happen, you know, maybe one or the other. We'll figure it out.
JR, looking forward to catching up with you at the end of the month. Yeah. Thank you
Good
so
on
much.
you, mate. Cheers.